Welcome into another Patriots Hub podcast free agency reaction. I'm Alex Barth from 98.5thesportshub.com. The Patriots did not let the first unofficial day of free agency end without addressing the wide receiver position. Their final signing on the day, wide receiver Mack Hollins coming from the Bills, so within the division, to the Patriots, 2-year, $8.4 million deal worth up to $10.4 million in total money. Hollins is an interesting signing for the Patriots. 6'4", 221-pound wide receiver. His production has been on and off in his career. His best season actually came in 2022 when he was playing for Josh McDaniels with the Las Vegas Raiders. He caught 57 passes for 690 yards and 4 touchdowns. Last year in his lone season in Buffalo, 31 catches, 378 yards, and 5 touchdowns. What makes Hollins interesting, he definitely checks some boxes that the Patriots need to check at the wide receiver position. First one stands right out, size. Again, 6'4", 221, plays to every inch and every pound of that. Big physical receiver. That shows up in the pass game, also shows up in the run game. This guy will block his ass off. He is stylistically a true X receiver, which they haven't had in quite a bit. They played Kayshon Boutte out there a little bit last year, but that's not, he's more of a Z. They tried Tyquan Thornton out there. That obviously didn't work. Mack Hollins gives them a real X. He's also a veteran in that room. His 112 NFL games will be the most, are the most now, or once the contract's official on Wednesday, of any wide receiver currently on the Patriots, and a guy that, by all accounts, does a great job in terms of leadership and, setting the tone in the locker room for the position in the team as a whole, which was obviously a through line for most, if not all, of the Patriots signings on Monday, but they had another character guy as well in Holland. So he checks those boxes stylistically. To what extent, right? Again, his best year, just over 600 yards, 5 touchdowns. Like, he's not, they still have a lot of work to do with the wide receiver position. He is not somebody that is going to come in and fix the offense. They still need a true number one. He is an X. I don't think he precludes them from signing a better X wide receiver. Like, they still need to address the top of the depth chart at this position. Stylistically, he fills holes. But if we're talking about overall talent, he's kind of where they've been with these solid complementary players, but nobody's going to come in and dictate coverage and really change the way a defense defends the Patriots. So it's not a lot of money. Again, he brings some things that they needed, that size, the positional experience, also a really good special teams player, and he's always played special teams, even on teams where he's more involved in the offense. So he does give them something, and it's a nice signing, but they're still a ways away from addressing the wide receiver position, and now the conversation kind of becomes, well, how do they do that, right? DK Metcalf is off the board. Chris Godwin is off the board. Darius Slayton is off the board. Do we turn to the draft? Ted McMillan, Travis Hunter, are these guys more realistic options at 4? Hunter is, assuming he gets there. It's whether or not he actually does. Is Ted McMillan more of an option now? Do they continue to monitor the T. Higgins situation in Cincinnati? The Bengals have said they want to re-sign everybody, but you look at some of the contracts these wide receivers are getting, I think it's going to be a lot more expensive than they thought it was going to be even maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago when Duke Tobin came out at the Combine and said that they were going to make Jamar Chase the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL. I still think they're going to do that for Chase, but what they thought was maybe a 38, 39, $40 million contract. Well, Myles Garrett just got 40. So if you promise Chase that he's going to be the highest paid non-quarterback, you now have to exceed $40 million a year. Trey Hendrickson's still out there, but they could trade him. But T. Higgins kind of gets caught in the middle. Are they going to be able to get both of those deals done, or is it ultimately going to become too expensive? And as much as they want it, as much as Joe Burrow wants it, does he sort of become available at the last second? The Patriots are going to have to monitor that. They're going to have to look hard at the draft. There aren't a ton of options to get that wide receiver at the top of the depth chart. Maybe it's just something they say, look, we addressed a bunch of our needs that we had this offseason. We upgraded the pass rush. Hopefully they do a little more, but upgraded the offensive line, all of that, linebackers. Wide receivers just going to be need number one next year. I know people maybe don't want to see them do that, but you can only add the players that are available, and if the guy's not available, you can't force a team to give up a player. So they still have a long way to go at the wide receiver position, but just overall for the culture they're building, for the tone they're trying to set, getting Mack Hollins in the room as a rotational wide receiver, help set the tone, add some experience, will help cover kicks as well, playing the kicking game. Not a bad signing for, it's $8.4 million was the base number, so you figure with guarantees, it hasn't been reported yet, or I haven't seen it reported at the time we're recording this, but I would imagine the guarantees don't go over 6. So very reasonable contract for a veteran player that also, Bills fans seem upset that he's gone. So maybe that tells you something, that they valued him in Buffalo, and the Patriots are getting a little piece of that. So Mack Hollins, again, Patriots' first wide receiver addition of the offseason. Hopefully more to come, but not a bad start. We'll have reactions to all of the Patriots' moves throughout free agency on 985thesportshub.com, on the offseason.985thesportshub.com special offseason website, just all your free agency and draft coverage right there. Also, more of these reactions, videos on the Sports Hub YouTube channel, and we have the podcast posted on the Patriots Hub podcast feed wherever you get your podcast. So plenty of ways to check out all of our offseason coverage. But until the next move, I'm Alex Barth. Thanks for tuning in.